Just can I have your attention just for 1 minute? I'm from the Friends of the James Joyce Tower. You know, people can befriend towers, and we have befriended this one. So we're a number of us who volunteer to show people around the tower and tell people a little bit of the story behind it. But I'm not going to tell you any story now. I'm just going to read a little bit of the most famous story written about this very spot where I'm standing and where we're all paying homage today. So it's a bit breezy, but I'll try and project my voice as well as I can and as roundly as I can. And I didn't do an awful lot of thought about what I'd read, because the obvious passage to read is the first episode, and it was called Telemachus at a later stage, but that's the link with the Odyssey. Anyway, I will read as far as I can before I run out of steam and before Brian Murray comes back. But you'll have to go then. Okay. Stately, plump Buck Mulligan came from the stairhead, bearing a bowl of lather on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. A yellow dressing gown, ungirdled, was sustained gently behind him by the mild morning air. He held the bowl aloft and intoned, Inter Nevo Adultari Dei. Halted. He peered down the winding stairs and called up coarsely, Come up, Kinch! Come up, you fearful Jesuit! Solemnly he came forward and mounted the round gun rest. He faced about him and blessed gently thrice the tower, the surrounding country, and the awakening mountains. Then, catching sight of Stephen Dedalus, he leant towards him and made rapid crosses in the air, gurgling in his throat and shaking his head. Stephen Dedalus, displeased and sleepy, leaned his arms on the top of the staircase and looked coldly at the shaking, gurgling face that blessed him, equine in its length, and at the light, untonsured hair, grained and hued like pale oak. Buck Mulligan peeped an instant under the mirror, and then covered the bowl smartly. Back to barracks, he said sternly. He added in a preacher's tone, For this, O dearly beloved, is the genuine Christine, body and soul and blood and ouns. Slow music, please. Shut your eyes, gents. One moment. A little trouble about those white corpuscles. Silence all. He peered sideways up and gave a long, low whistle of call, then paused a while in rapt attention. His eyes, his even white teeth, glistening here and there with gold points. Chrysostomos. Two strong, shrill whistles answered through the calm. Thanks, old chap, he cried briskly. That will do nicely. Switch off the current, will you? He skipped off the gun rest and looked gravely at his watcher, gathering about his legs the loose bows of the gown. The plump, shadowed face and sullen, oval jowl recalled a prelate, patron of arts in the Middle Ages. A pleasant smile broke quietly over his lips. The mockery of it, he said gaily. Your absurd name, an ancient Greek. He pointed his finger in friendly jest and went over to the parapet, laughing to himself. Stephen Dedalus stepped up, followed him wearily halfway and sat down on the edge of the gun rest, watching him still as he propped his mirror on the parapet, dipped the brush in the bowl and lathered cheek and neck. Buck Mulligan's gay voice went on. My name is absurd. Malachi Mulligan. 2 dactyls. But it hasn't a Hellenic ring, hasn't it? tripping and sunny like the buck himself. We must go to Athens. Will you come if I can get the aunt to fork out 20 quid? He laid the brush inside and laughing with delight cried, "Will he come, the Jesuit Jesuit?" Ceasing, he began to shave with care. "Tell me, Mulligan," Stephen said quietly. "Yes, my love." "How long is Hayden's going to stay in this tower?" Buck Mulligan showed a shaven cheek over his right shoulder. "God, isn't he dreadful?" he said frankly. "A ponderous Saxon. He thinks you're not a gentleman. God, those bloody English, bursting with money and indigestion. Because he comes from Oxford, you know. Dedalus, you have to read Oxford manner. He can't make you out. Oh, my name for you is the best. Pinch, the night blade." He shaved warily over his chin. He was raving all night about a Black Panther, Stephen said. "Where's his gun case?" "A woeful lunatic," Mulligan said. "Were you in a funk?" "I was," Stephen said, with energy and growing fear. "Out here in the dark with a man I don't know, raving and moaning to himself about shooting a Black Panther." "You save men from drowning. I'm not a hero. However, if he stays on here, I am off." Buck Mulligan frowned at the ladder on his razor blade. He hopped down from his perch and began to search his trouser pockets hastily. "Scuther!" he cried thickly. He came back over to the gun rest and, thrusting a hand from Stephen's upper pocket into Stephen's upper pocket, said, "Let us alone of your nose rag to wipe my razor." Stephen suffered him to pull out and hold up on show by its corner a dirty, crumpled handkerchief. Buck Mulligan wiped the razor blade neatly. Then, gazing over the handkerchief, he said, "The bard's nose rag. A new art colour for our Irish poets. Snot green. You can almost taste it, can't you?" He mounted to the parapet again and gazed out over Dublin Bay, his fair oak-pale hair stirring slightly. "God," he said quietly, "isn't the sea what Algie calls it? A grey, sweet mother. The snot-green sea. The scrotum-tightening sea. Epi onopa panton. Dedalus, the Greeks. I must teach you. You must read them in the original. Talata, Talata, she is our great sweet mother. Come and look." Stephen stood up and went over to the parapet. Leaning on it, he looked down on the water and on the mailboat, clear in the harbour mouth at Kingstown. "Our mighty mother," Buck Mulligan said. He turned abruptly, his great searching eyes from the sea to Stephen's face. "The aunt thinks you killed your mother," he said. "That's why she won't let me have anything to do with you." "Someone killed her," Stephen said gloomily. "You could have knelt down, damn it, Kinch, when your dying mother asked you," Buck Mulligan said. "I'm Hyperborean as much as you, but to think of your mother begging you with her last breath to kneel down and pray for her, and you refuse. There is something sinister in you." He broke off and lathered again lightly his farther cheek. A tolerant smile curled his lips. "But a lovely mummer," he murmured to himself. "Kinch, the loveliest mummer of them all." He shaved evenly and with care in silence, seriously. Stephen, an elbow raised on the jagged granite, leaned his palm against his brow and gazed at the fraying edge of his shiny black coat sleeve. Pain, that was not yet the pain of love, fretted his heart. Silently in a dream she had come to him after her death, her wasted body within its loose brown grave clothes, giving off an odour of wax and rosewood. Her breath that had bent over him, a mute, reproachful, a faint odour of wetted ashes. Across the threadbare cuff edge, He saw the sea hailed as a great sweet mother by the well-fed voice beside him. The ring of bay and skyline held a dull green mass of liquid. A bowl of white china had stood beside her deathbed, holding the green sluggish bag which she had torn up from her rotting liver by fits of loud groaning vomiting. Buck Mulligan wiped again his razor blade. "Ah, poor dog's body," he said in a kind voice. "I must give you a shirt and a few nose rags." "How are the second-hand breeks?" "They fit well enough," Stephen answered. Buck Mulligan attacked the hollow beneath his underlip. "The mockery of it," he said contentedly. "Second leg this should be. God knows what poxy bows he left them off. I have a lovely pair with a hair striped grey. You look spiffing in them." "I'm not joking, Kinch. You look damn well when you're dressed." "Thanks," Stephen said. "I can't wear them if they're grey." He can't wear them, Buck Mulligan told his face in the mirror. Etiquette is etiquette. He kills his mother, but he can't wear grey trousers. He folded his razor neatly, and with strokes of fingers, felt the smooth skin. Stephen turned his gaze from the sea to the plump face with its smoke-blue, mobile eyes. "That fellow I was with in the ship last night," said Buck Mulligan, "says you have GPI. He's up in Dottydale with Connolly Norman. General paralysis of the insane." He swept the mirror a half circle in the air to flash the tidings abroad in sunlight, now radiant on the sea. His curling, shaven lips laughed, and the edges of his pipe glittering teeth. Laughter seized all his strong, well-knit trunk. "Look at yourself," he said, "you dreadful bard." Stephen bent forward and peered at the mirror held out to him, cleft by a crooked crack hair on end. He and others see me. Who chose this face for me? The dog's body to rid of vermin. It asks me to. "I pinched it out of the skivvy's room," Buck Mulligan said. "It does her all right. The aunt always keeps plain-looking servants from Malachy. Lead him not into temptation. And her name is Ursula." Laughing again, he brought the mirror away from Stephen's peering eyes. The rage of Caliban at not seeing his face in the mirror, he said. "If Wild were only alive to see you." Drawing back and pointing, Stephen said with bitterness, "It's a symbol of Irish art, the cracked looking glass of a servant." Buck Mulligan suddenly linked his arm in Stephen's and walked with them round the tower, his razor and mirror clacking in the pocket where he had thrust them. "It's not fair to tease you like that, Kinch, is it?" he said kindly. "God knows you have more spirit than any of them." Parried again, he fears the lancet of my art as I fear that of his. The cold steel pen, cracked looking glass of a servant. Tell that to the oxy chap downstairs, and touch him for a guinea. He's stinking with money and thinks you're not a gentleman. The old fellow made his tin by selling jalap to Zulus on some bloody swindler or other. God, Kinch, if you and I would only work together, we might do something for the island. Helenize. Cranley's arms. His arm. Okay.